The question of whether journalism is storytelling or just the facts, ma'am, is an interesting one, and people even within the profession debate it. We talk about different kinds or different layers of journalistic pieces, and on one side there's articles, which I think of as the facts. It's like the baseball box scores, the city council meeting, the results of a verdict. But then there's this spectrum, and the spectrum, as you get more and more and more into character, into scene, into all those elements of story, become true storytelling. And I think journalism has, when it's appropriate, the not only ability but the need to do everything that any other form of storytelling does, with one key exception. It has to be factually correct. But when I say factually correct, I don't just mean numbers and dates. I mean, if you say the weather was a certain way, the weather better had been that way on the day you're writing about. So that's the only distinction in my mind. You can use metaphor, you can use imagery, a lot of description, detail, character, personality, color, all those things about storytelling. Rhythm, I don't think there are many limits on that kind of journalism as long as you get it right. If I put together an article that is mostly based on facts, civic information, then that's exactly what I'm doing, is I am transferring information to you that in theory is information that you deserve or need to live your civic life. Primarily to be a better citizen, or to at least be an involved citizen, or to know as a citizen what's going on in your world. If I move to the other end of the spectrum, then I can move into the world of not just transferring information, but conveying an experience, giving you access vicariously to a place, an emotion, an experience that you're not going to witness or be part of yourself. Walt Harrington, who's a wonderful, wonderful journalist who teaches, he used to be with the Washington Post, and he teaches now at University of Illinois. He refers to it as the felt life, conveying the felt life, putting people in a scene so they actually have a sense that they're there for a moment, so they can get closer to the situation. Plane goes down in eastern Ukraine. We all know what I'm talking about. And most of the reporting that came out of there at first was straightforward journalistic reporting with a hard edge, because there were huge questions about what happened there. The thing that struck me most was the story about 2 or 3 days later when reporters finally got on the scene, and they were describing it, and they were describing this little doll, this pink doll that was laying there, and you knew that there was a child that had been attached to that doll. Now I feel like I'm in that field, and I have a sense of the loss that I'm not going to get just with the numbers or the questions about who is responsible and was it shut down. So it's that sort of effort to take the public and the journalistic civic public and put them in places where other people are living their lives so they can have a closer sense of what that life is like. And I think that helps them, I would hope, that helps them have a more fully human sense of reality when then they make civic decisions. The gay marriage decision this past week by the Supreme Court is a perfect example of how stories about people who live a certain life with people they love that's different than mainstream traditional heterosexual marriages. Knowing what their lives are really like, I think, helps over time people move as a society to making the decision that was made this past week.